welcome everybody to another event here at Wellness Visions, and I'm Dr. Jennie Shu. I'm delighted that you're all here this evening to hear about some wonderful things that we are offering here at Wellness Visions. So we are in our third year here at Wellness Visions, and this is a really special place for people to gather and learn about different things that may benefit your health and your energy. And so I'm so grateful that you are all here today to learn more about. And let me share a little bit about my background with all of you. Bear with me, we have a little tech issue. So hold on, let me see if I can fix it. Great. All right, so this is who I am. I've been a physician now for 28 years. And it's been a passion of mine to find ways to help as many people live a really full and active life. And I actually started out before medical school. I really was somebody who loved the sciences, and so I went to UC Berkeley. I was a molecular and cell biology major, and that's relevant because some of the things that we're doing here at Wellness Visions right now. But I was a primary care internal medicine for a long time, and I was also a professor of medicine at the University of Illinois for a long time. So education has always been a passion for me to teach others, and so I thank all of you because this is a way that we can all learn together, is the way I see it. But as I was going along in my career, I really realized that there was more to healing than what I had been trained at UCSF when I went to medical school there. And so I was really grateful to have the chance to become a health and wellness coach. And as I left what I did for many years working for a large hospital clinic, I actually trained in neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and I became an energy healer. The form of energy healing I do is Hawaiian and Polynesian, and some of you are familiar with Lemurian. It's actually Lemurian healer. So I've been fortunate in my career as a professor that I was also involved in clinical research at the University of Illinois, and I've continued some of that effort to just understand things. So that's kind of my background, that I'd love to kind of share information about the sciences and what's really cutting edge. And I hope that you'll see that what we offer here at Wellness Visions is really cutting edge. And so this has been a passion of mine and a mission to really empower. My goal is 1 million plus people by 2050 to really achieve the highest optimal health, energy, and vitality in harmony with the mind, body, and spirit, and with all living things on planet Earth. And this is with holistic health and wellness programs, retreats, and centers globally. And my vision is that all health conditions are healed holistically, completely, and really empowering each one of us to live that rich, productive, meaningful life, including each person contributing to the community and being a steward of the earth. So that's been something that I've really believe that we are all part of Mother Earth, and we have a responsibility to taking care of our temple, our body, as well as each other and all living beings on planet Earth. So today I will be talking about a variety of things, but I'm going to talk very briefly about the history of frequency technology, and there's a lot to learn, but I'm just going to hit the highlights. And I'm going to talk about what was really the evolution, because now we're in our third year here at Wellness Visions, and we're really grateful that we've had the Energy Enhancement System, or the EESystem, now for 3 years with an upgrade from a 24 to 48. And we're also really glad that we've been able to offer the song laser for over a year, and it's amazing technology. And then most recently, in literally last month, we started offering PERL, which is a RIFE-based machine that has been in development, like the EESystem, for the past 30 years. So it's wonderful that there have been these visionaries, these scientists, healers, that have brought the work of other just giants of science that we can really be able to be in the frequency of. So we're going to talk a lot about how we can bring this all together for synergy. I really believe in that. Though something that I'm very passionate about is also really having people understand that the most powerful person in all this process of changing your energy, changing your health is you. And the fact that you're here, either online or here in person, or those kind of watching this on the recording, speaks to the choice that you made, that you are interested in something that can really not only shift your life, but shift the life of family, friends, those that you love and care about, and really our planet as well, as I'm going to share a little bit more about this technology. So we'll have a chance to have Q&A at the end, but also those who are here in person, there is a demonstration of the PERL in our conference room, and those, of course, here are under our 48 units. So I hope those online or others listening will get a chance to be able to experience the 48 unit. And so this all kind of stems from the work of Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the sequence of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And so this is really relevant to the EESystem, as well as you'll find out, the PERL. And I'd like to invite all of you to think about that, because we are beings of energy. And so I was really fascinated when I was studying the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton. Some of you may have read his book, The Biology of Belief. And, you know, I really resonated because I did cell biology work. That was my major. I grew actually brain tumor cells when I was at UCSF before I went to medical school. So it was just fascinating to see that we're more than just what we think of the body. We are actually in this time and space, really, as a representation of a human life, but we are really a consciousness that is part of this whole universe. And this really kind of can be represented when you look at a brain cell and see that it looks like a picture from the universe. And some of you have heard as above, so below. And not only is this from the standpoint of looking at the universe and yourself, but each of us are universe to many different organisms in our body as well. So it's really very fascinating to kind of look at that. But it's helpful to understand because, especially when we're talking about energy, something that might affect the whole cosmos might affect us. The same thing if something is happening to us, our thoughts, our feelings, it may affect the living organisms that are within our body as well. And if you look at this, and some of you are aware of the science from heart math, really looking at the power of the heart. And this is a very important thing for all of us to really appreciate, that the power of the heart is really where the connection to your higher self, your higher sacred self, consciousness is. And when you look at it, when they've studied the power of the heart, it is that the electrical field is 60 times that of the brain, and up to 5,000 times more than the brain, which is the magnetic field. And so if you can see that really this energy field is like a toroidal field all around our body. This represents the energy that's around our body. And that's really very important to kind of start thinking that, again, when we're beings of energy. and how can we utilize that knowledge to really shift our health. And so Dr. Oz said the next big frontier in medicine is energy medicine. So this is exciting because we're all here and we're all in this immersed, beautiful scalar energy of the E-system, as I will share shortly. And this is really the forefront of energy medicine. So, and we receive energy all the time. You know, when we're watching sunrise or sunset and we're receiving the rays of the sun is actually not only sending us information from its rays, and we're receiving that energy. And so this is the same thing being under the EE system or some of these other technologies that are here to support giving us radiant, healthy energy. And we know that really we're meant to be healthy and whole, and we're meant to have this beautiful balance of our mind, which a lot of us can kind of imagine as our conscious thinking mind, but we actually get a lot of data neurologically and other sensory input in that we can really be conscious of. And also our body is our physical body, but that is another aspect of who we are. And then really we are spirit in a bodily form. There's much more that is being explored, especially that the ancients and the indigenous knew that we were more than just the body, right? And so I'd like for you to just imagine your favorite place in nature. I love actually waterfalls, and this is from Maui. I love being in Maui. And some of you may have been in Maui or just been out wherever it was that you loved, the ocean, the mountains, and just felt that earth energy. It's so powerful. And there are so many wonderful frequencies in nature. And so this is actually something that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, who is a brilliant scientist and a holistic healer. She's actually studied to be a chiropractor and a naturopathic doctor, and she grew up doing Nikola Tesla's experiments. And so when she created the E-system, she wanted to bring something that could heal the planet. And so she said that everything that comes up, physically, emotionally, mentally, is all meant to be cleared and healed. And so we're, thanks to what Dr. Sandra has created, there's now over 600 EE system centers that have now come up literally in the last 3 years. There used to be about 20, and many in private homes. Some of you know who Tony Robbins is? Anybody know him? Okay. Tony Robbins has had the EE system in his home for decades. He's a good friend of Dr. Sanders. And so he has some amazing stories that I'll share later of a good friend of his who was a trainer. But you can see that Dr. Sandra's mission has inspired many people around the world to open a center. And that was the inspiration of why I opened Wellness Visions. I actually had been at that time really connecting with my own intuition. I never thought I was intuitive. I was in this 3D logical world of medicine and very logical and analytical. And so when I was opening up to more of what really all of us are, especially my abilities to imagine and be intuitive, I actually knew in my heart that the E-system was what was meant to come to the world and help others. So I signed up then for a 24 unit before even trying it. I believed in it so much after looking at some of the testimonials and the science and knowing that this was a thing that could help so many people, and it has. And I'll share just a few testimonials, but it is pretty incredible. And so what scalar energy is really quite remarkable. At some level, it's taking healthy, natural frequencies and encoding it using science into the energy enhancement system. So it has a Schumann resonance, which is 7.83. And yes, I know that we've been getting a lot of more solar activity and that it's been spiking, but it also has the resonance of a virgin rainforest. And it is scalar, is able to just be different from what most people think of electromagnetic fields. Actually, electromagnetic fields are kind of derived from scalar energy. So this is what, in the scientific world, they'll say it's non-linear, non-Hertzian, fifth-dimensional scalar fields. And it's been shown over the decades to make a lot of beneficial biological effects, not only in humans, but animals as well, and also living, let's say, organisms such as plants. So just many things to talk about, but lots of data to show that it increases the energy in your body very quickly. And so the ones who are here, you're all in the E-system, so you're getting that scalar charge, and likely those even online are getting some of the energy even from 48 unit. It's also great at detoxifying the body, and unfortunately we are living in a very toxic environment when we're talking about the radiation that's in our environment, to EMF, 5G, to the pollution that's in the air, the water, in our food, even if we eat as cleanly as possible. But it can activate stem cells, or it helps renew your body, improves immune function and organ health. And again, it is pretty incredible that this very broad spectrum of energy, the scalar energy, can help so many people. So, and really not very many people can be in fields such as pregnant women in any trimester, and it's safe. It's safe for children at any ages, and also even for, let's say, women carrying children. It's actually beneficial for the babies that are growing, because they're getting healthy energy, and also they can get the benefits of the detox as well. So this is just a representation of what the scalar energy looks like in this field, that it is a living energy that is right here in the middle of our room. So if some of you are aware, there's a sticker in the middle. That's the center of our vortex of energy right here in our center. And actually the main effect, because a lot of people might say, well, do I have to look at it? No, you don't have to look at it. It's actually, when people are here to meditate or take a nap, it's best to close your eyes. You're still receiving the energy, and why there's colored lights is it corresponds to the chakra colors, and it's actually the scalar component of it, though, goes out for hundreds of miles, over 300 miles, in energy that goes above and below. So it literally is like earth acupuncture. It's helping create a healthy zone, and people have noticed that there's decreased crime in an area where there's an E-system. This is what I'm talking about, that is helping actually our communities and our planet to have so many E-centers all over the world. And a well-known physicist named Dr. John Areva said that this was an amazing physics at play, where it's a high level of application. It can just transmute these energies into photonic fusion. And that's the main effect in the room. So you're not necessarily going to get that photonic fusion outside of the room. And that's why the best thing is to be in the room as you all are. And the other thing is that we share with people that unfortunately when people have disease, whether it is something like a chronic disease to a terminal condition like cancer, they're usually at a very low energy point. And so the first thing that the E-system does very rapidly is to increase the cellular charge, and that has been proven. We actually had a device called BioWell here, and in 1 hour, my own energy field when it was measured went from 46 to 50 joules, which was great. And my chakra balance before went from 84% to 94%. in 1 hour in a 24 unit. So this is just, again, just a way to show that the energy can shift very rapidly. And so you can imagine, if you're running on very little energy, how can your body heal itself? Because that really is the secret, is your body is healing itself. It just needs the right environment. And if there's toxins and other things dragging your energy down, and maybe even your own emotions or thoughts that is keeping your energy down. And so this is a researcher, her name is Dr. Sabina DeVita, who studies the energy fields using a device that is called BioWell. And so you can see over on the left that this woman came in, was experiencing headache, low energy, feeling kind of depressed, but you could see that her energy fields was kind of not complete. And compared to the right, an hour later, she had a stronger, more even energy field. So these are things that can be measured. And she is the author of electromagnetic pollution, so she was amazed that the EESystem was not producing negative energies. And, you know, unfortunately these days we're kind of using this. That's why we tell people when you come here to just turn off the phone, because even though the EESystem transmutes the energy, it just helps to not be disrupted, especially when you're in the state of relaxation and really getting your cells to activate your stem cells. And so they've also studied the base of a transformer that for 5.5 acres, the detrimental fields were negated. So just imagine what R48 here is doing for all the Bay Area. Because there's also other systems in the Bay Area. There's one in San Francisco, 24 unit. The R48, there's a 12 unit currently up in Sebastopol. So it's really helpful to know that there's some beneficial energies that can help our surrounding communities. And that here is an oncologist by the name of Dr. Victor Marcel Vega. So he was measuring live blood microscopy, and what he found that in the EESystem, there was an increase in the toxins leaving out of the cells. And you can see kind of on the left, the before and after, like there's more blood flow. So what's been shown is that there's more hydration of cells and also more oxygenation of the cells. And what's remarkable, they've even studied a child with sickle cell anemia, and these blood cells look very abnormal. They are what we call a sickle shape, and they look more normal. And so really multiple doctors, these are more the Western trained doctors like Dr. Vega, but other physicians like cardiologists and other fields have actually found the beneficial effects of the EESystem for many years. And so here, Dr. Vega mentioned the doctor was cured of blindness. Another, Dr. Birch, mentioned paralysis, healing from paralysis to the legs. And there's been multiple instances where people had things like strokes or heart attacks or other things with their gut that just EESystem alone, they were able to provide the healthy environment for the body to heal. And so lots of benefits. Some of what we talked about can promote healing of DNA, your nerves, neutralizes the EMF, ELF, radiation. It really is providing that resonant field. So it's the same where it's like if you are in a resonant field, like if some of you play guitars or violins, if you pluck a string, the other string will start vibrating in the same resonance. Or let's say some of you are aware that some opera singers, they may sing and they can shatter a glass at a certain frequency. And we'll come back to that example in a little bit. So we talked about the hydration, oxygenation. It helps promote cellular communication. It balances the pH, the blood sugar, so people report just lower blood sugars. I know I saw a testimonial, someone's hemoglobin A1C, which is their average of the blood sugar, it was like 15, and it came down to normal with the EESystem. So it's pretty dramatic. but it has also helped people, especially if they were struggling with stress, feeling anxious or depressed, also ADHD, autism. We have had a couple teenage boys who were nonverbal, and within an hour in the 48 unit, they were more verbal. And so these benefits are seen, especially cumulative, so the more time that we spend. And this induced meditational state, what that is that they have done studies showing that people can get into a meditative state like a Tibetan monk in 7 minutes. So it's really impressive. And I put this picture, this is from Dr. Sandra. This gentleman looks very fit. Anybody want to guess his age? You might know this already. He is 85. And so to see somebody like this, who's 85, but has a lot of vitality, and is being featured on this lifelong fitness, is a testament of what we're all capable of, being strong, vital, being able to regenerate our body. So, so it's really inspiring to see that. So they've done lots of other studies. So this is EEG activity. So there's a before and after 10 minutes only, that there was a lot of normalization of brainwave activity just after 10 minutes. Actually, there's another great story that somebody who had chronic headache went into EESystem, and they were researching on the biofields. So they went in, had this headache for decades, and he was with a fellow researcher. They came out, he stopped, and she asked him, "Oh, did you forget your wallet?" No, he didn't forget his wallet, but he had this headache for decades, which was gone. And what happened was, in his 20s, he was mugged, and somebody stole his wallet. So his fellow researcher picked up on that the trauma was losing a wallet, but he was able to release his headache after decades. And actually what they did, I don't have it here, they did a bio-well. You could see where the headache used to be was a burst of energy leaving. This is what's possible now. And these are some other things. So an actigraph that acupuncturist shows that green chart is more full. This Purlin photography, so before and afterwards, you can see that something's charged still weeks afterwards. Thermography showing that this red that's inflamed is actually gone, being in the EESystem alone. Now, being somebody fascinated by the sciences, I did a small study here of some participants, 20 women and 6 men, all ages, from 40s to 70s. The average age was 60. And why I did the study was I found that my own effects that seemed to be from the EESystem was a few years ago. I was 52, and I did a baseline DNA test and found that my biological age, which correlates to health, was 50. But I found that very interesting because I was testing at that time, my biological age every 3 months and testing different things. That my biological age went from 50 to 47 and then 38. And the only change I could really connect it to was being in the EESystem. So that was very interesting. So I found that with what we call epigenetics, so looking at what we call methylation or changes to the DNA, that 82% of the people got younger biologically, that they got younger with 52 hours of a 24 unit, and the average reversal age was about 3.4 years. And there's something called the Dunedin pace. It's a well-known study, decades long, studying a population of people in New Zealand, the town of Dunedin, was that 91% of them slowed down the rate of aging. And so they could see that there was effect over time being in an E-system. Now, would that be great if everybody found this out and they could just have more energy and also have better health and know that this is changing something on the DNA level towards the positive? And I also tracked other things. When we measured blood pressure was better. For a lot of people, there were 8 people who started with some elevated blood pressure, but by the time that we finished, they had all had improvements in their blood pressure. We also found that there was a decrease in body fat. And that was fascinating because I had a couple members tell me I wasn't trying, they were very active. One was a jogger, and one ran 3 times a week. Another was a Pilates instructor. They both told me, like, we're losing weight around the middle. We're happy about it, but they didn't expect that. And I measured waist to hip, so that's a better measurement along with body percentage than weight on your body, what we call body composition. And so actually the majority of people lost weight around the middle and had decreased body fat, which is very nice to know that you can do that. And so, just so you know, even though I'm a lifestyle medicine physician, I've been board certified in obesity medicine, and I ran a PERS fitness club, so I was a fitness coach in my past as well. So, and PERS, it was very much based on the sciences of how people get stronger, muscle mass, and lose weight. So that's kind of my background too. But we saw changes in cholesterol. Their good cholesterol got better, especially if it's low. Their bad cholesterol, their LDL cholesterol lowered, and they also had improved hormone levels. So some men had improved testosterone levels. And I'll relate this to a story because there is real proof that they noticed the changes and improved adrenal function. That's connected to stress, both in cortisol and what we call DHEA, and improved estrogen and progesterone levels in women, even if the women were postmenopausal or perimenopausal. So the majority of them had more energy and health. They felt like they were more balanced, were wanting with their higher self. The answers were coming faster. They leveled out their energy slumps. So we had a member who didn't feel the 24 unit, but she realized that she's a nurse, and she realized that she had more energy at work. And so that was nice to know, that even though she didn't feel anything, that she had more energy. People had better sleep. They had more energy to cook healthier, eat healthier, exercise more. Somebody reported that blood sugar was better, and they eased their depression. So the majority, a good number of people, even if they had a very stressful time during the study, their stress, they could manage it a lot more better. And so they were feeling more resilient. So that was amazing. So they're much more calm, even if there was a lot of things they were dealing with, such as losing a loved one or changes in the relationship. And they were just very glad that they had a chance to be in the E-system. And they just find that they could cope with so many things better. And there's a lot more data. These are just some of the highlights. Now this is one individual who had heart disease and was told by doctors at UCSF that he needed open heart surgery. He could only walk 5 minutes and he had chest pain, what we called angina. So this was pretty serious. Now I do know as a lifestyle medicine physician, people can change their diet and exercise, and it has a tremendous impact on their heart disease condition. But this person came in for 2 hours and the chest pain was gone. And not only, was he kind of skeptical in the beginning, but he had this sense of being at peace. He was more in tune with nature, the sun, the flowers, and just committed to doing a monthly task so that he could heal his heart. Health is wealth. Wealth is often not health. And that's very profound because a lot of people unfortunately, sometimes by the time they have some condition, it's gone on for some time. But what all this is showing is it's possible to change this, especially once you commit and understand that you are worthy of changing, and that there's a lot of people who come to our center, they're such lovely caregivers or givers, but when it comes to taking their health, sometimes they put themselves last. And I know this because I was part of that. I have 4 now adult children, and I thought I was busy being mom and doctor and wasn't taking care of myself until my wake-up call was the end of the marriage. And this is where I landed, was finding how to heal myself. At that time, it was meditation, exercise, and yoga. But this is why, especially being in an environment like the EESystem, can be very powerful to accelerate that potential. So this lady, again, great health, active, this Pilates instructor, she could do cardio like she did 10 to 15 years ago being an EESystem. She cut down her thyroid medication. She eventually got off her thyroid medication. She lost that visceral fat. She went off her bioidentical hormone. She did it gradually, and her hormone levels are normal. So this is somebody in the late 60s. This gentleman, he lost weight without changing what he ate, had more energy running, and he also has more pep in the bedroom. Now, he did share with me that he tried Viagra, which I prescribed before, long past. I didn't like it because it would cause headache, or sometimes emergency chest pain, or very emergency prolonged erection, which is not good for guys, right? And so he started having more erections. This happens not only for men, but women. They may have improved sexual function, libido, so this helps all around, men and women. Now I'm going to switch gears because I'm going to talk about now the PERL. And I know you may have questions about, well, how is the system different from PERL? But I met this lovely lady, Jennie, she goes by Eddie, just a few months ago, 3 months ago. And some of you might know who Cryon is. We were sitting at a conference learning about multidimensional DNA, and she was there, and I heard the story that somebody with PERL healed metastatic prostate cancer in 4 months. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. I have to know more about this. And I found out this was a RIFE-based machine. And it's very unique. Some of you may be familiar with other RIFE-based machines like Spooky too. But there's some unique things about the PERL in that it creates a resonant field, as I'll kind of explain. And so it is also about frequencies, but these are different. It's not scalar energy. They're very specific energies and frequencies, and it's based on this phenomenal work by Dr. Royal Raymond RIFE in the 1930s. And he was an amazing, not only scientist, but he invented these high-power microscopes that are not electron ones, but you can see living organisms, and they're still being used today. So what he found was that there's 2 things that are really kind of important when you're talking about frequencies. One is that you want to excite that electrical voltage of the cell. So sounds familiar, we just heard about that for EESystem, right? And that it can enable them to communicate more effectively. But all living matter vibrates to a certain specific frequency. And that's very key because he could see that certain bacteria, parasites, could be immobilized or devitalized with certain frequencies. So remember we were talking about that opera singer? The same thing. That certain frequencies can, let's say, change the structure of a object. And so this is the same thing, and that the individual may have what we call a Herxheimer reaction, which is something that can also happen in the system. What that means, if you're not familiar with it, is that we may hold toxins, and as the toxins are leaving, they may cause a Herxheimer, which is a transient release of that stuck energy. It's really, for those who are familiar with like acupuncture, this is about releasing that energetic block. But it could be toxins. Again, we've seen this with both EESystem and PERL, but these are transient. Like, for example, when I first felt the PERL frequencies a few months ago, there's a lady who experienced a little nausea, and that was because the frequency was set for pain. But that is likely a Herxheimer reaction. And for example, with EESystem, I did have a member who came in and caused some dizziness. We thought it was a detox reaction. He did the detox bath that's recommended as part of EESystem. Came back, no more dizziness, it's gone. So whatever he released, just like that gentleman with that long-standing trauma to the head, it was burst of energy and it left. So really, the PERL is also great at reducing pain, really harmonizing the body, repairing tissue. It can speed up recovery, boost the healing of things like fractures. And it has a calming effect on hyperactivity and stress as well. So it can be useful during meditation as well. And some people are running the PERL as they sleep. So really, there's so many things, the detoxification, nerve repairs, fluid circulation, can improve mood like depression, anxiety, and sleep. And really, ultimately, there's a longevity effect too, because you're boosting the immune system so it's healthy, and allowing the body to relax, because a lot of dis-ease is high stress levels. So some people have said that over 90% of diseases are related to stress in our world right now. And so this is just an example from the PERL company that it was based on Nikola Tesla's work initially. Then it was taken on by other researchers, Dr. Lukowski, then Dr. Royal Raymond Wright, then carried on with Dr. James Farr, who collaborated with Donald Tunney, Eddie Tunney's late husband, where they founded Resonant Light Technology, the company that produces PERL. And they've also collaborated with Dr. Matthew Collin, who's looking at how it has helped people with cancer. So here's the PERL. Again, you'll get to feel the frequencies of PERL, but each of the PERL is connected to what we call a ProGen 3. And it's a unit that you can input specific frequencies, so it's like a TENS unit. And you can be connected to it, but because of the PERL, it runs through argon gas, so it's producing plasma light that can emit for 30 feet. So this is that carrier, and it's really pulsed electromagnetic fields, or PEMF, as some of you have heard about. And again, the field goes out for quite a distance. So I'll share later with you. We have it separately so we can feel the difference. But we have done a few times, and there'll be some opportunities. If you want to experience both the EESystem and the PERL, it is very powerful together. So anyways, we've talked a lot about the PERL, but you can just get one project with it. I did choose to get 3 so that we can run simultaneous healing frequencies, and I'll share the ones that are in there. And it's really exciting because this manual, which you're welcome to see, has an index that is quite phenomenal of all different kinds of conditions, anywhere from diabetes or different organisms like parasites. Like these are some future ones we might run, is a parasite cleanse, for example. And so here's a PERL. You're probably in the interest of time skip that video, but you can go to YouTube to Resonant Light Technology and watch the videos there. So they say 30 feet, but I know some of their sessions they were saying that it would actually travel farther than that, like 50 feet. So it goes through the wall. So even though it's another room, it is probably coming in here as well. So these are some testimonials, and the company has these. They'll send it to you. They're very organized with the testimonials. So arthritis, that it was relieving the pain, but offering an anti-inflammatory effect, and there was really non-invasive form of this PEMF energy. And fibromyalgia, low-frequency PEMF therapy would improve function and fatigue in fibromyalgia patients. In osteoporosis, it increased markers, serum markers for just bone, healthy bone, mineral density, and so it suggests, and there are frequencies for osteoporosis and bone regeneration and gums and teeth. You know, there's so many conditions listed in there. And you will ask, well, how is that different from EESystem? The EESystem is so broad spectrum that yes, we can program different frequencies, but these are the tried and true frequencies from the scalar energy that helps everything and anybody. Go back to PERL. So stroke, the PEMF can help with stroke recovery. The EESystem has done that too. So I know an individual who had a major stroke, 2 strokes actually, 70 hours later in the EESystem, he was back to the pre-stroke level. This is the power of these frequencies. Erectile dysfunction, so helped 85.7%, shown to be safe. And cancer, there was an anti-tumor effect. So these medications that they're using for chemotherapy are very expensive right now. Thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's quite a shame to think about how much people are having to spend on it. Sometimes insurance might only cover part of it. And if it's something like $100,000 a year compared to a cost of coming in for EESystem sessions or the PERL, it's really small change compared to what they're doing. And plus, when you look at, you know, what's the benefit of being on those? So here's somebody with breast cancer. They got MRI, no spots, lesions on the brain. The oncologist was shocked. This is with the PERL. New chest CT. All but 2, the nodule had resolved, and the other 2 had decreased in size. So really a positive effect. This person had prostate cancer in 23, so they were also having positive effects with the spots that they saw, that everything was returning back to normal for their bone scan. This is a multiple myeloma. He purchased it in 2016, and now he's been free of cancer for 5 years at the time of this. This was in 2021 when he submitted this. So pretty amazing that he stayed free and clear. This is just an example of one of the pages of all the different conditions, but just to show you, and again, you're welcome to take a look at the so it goes through many different organisms: abdominal pain, abscess, emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. You know, that's the first column, all the way down to ataxia, which is a difficulty with balance. Typically, it could be sometimes due to strokes to a part of the brain that affects balance and coordination, but there's many other types of ataxia. But asthma, again, just tremendous number. Now it is different from the EESystem in terms of precaution. So it is generally recommended not to use within 36 hours of chemotherapy, just because there might be effects in chemotherapy, and you want to just know if the effect that they're getting is from that versus something else. It is not recommended for people who are pregnant or around really young children. When I asked them, well, what's the age? They said if the child can tell you how they feel, and it's fine. So, you know, if they're like a baby, I would not recommend it. But if you think that you have a toddler and they can tell you how they feel, communicate with you, that may be fine. And you have to be really careful. It's very hot, so when you go in to see the pearl, we just recommend that we keep 10 inches away from the plasma tube. So, and you may have to be careful. People are on immunosuppressants, such as with organ transplants or certain kind of stem cells. And I'll get to the stem cells in a little bit. But certain individuals with certain kinds of pacemakers, defibrillators, they may not have shielding, so that's another reason. Or if they have an oxygen tank, portable, what we call oxygen concentrators are okay. So there are specific things that are different. Because EESystem, it doesn't matter if you have, let's say, defibrillator, pacemaker, and you're fine to come into EESystem. So, yes.
The last one it said frequency less than 5 hertz are not recommended.
Yes. Thank you for. So that's because below 5 hertz you can be really, really sleepy. So you just have to be careful not to do it for a long period, so you might want to feel like you have the energy.
Sleep all the time.
Yes, you might be sleeping all the time. That's right. So again, they're music frequencies, but they operate differently, and really the pearl is using these pulsing magnetic fields to stimulate, and it's at specific frequencies that whatever's set. While scalar is really that non-linear and really broad spectrum effect. But I like to say it's like whole body acupuncture, but nothing's touching me like needles. So, and this is something I just put together, like all people and animals for EESystem, but you have to kind of just be careful with what kind of, how old the children is and what kind of conditions the adults have. But it's safe actually for animals. So there are actually sets even for the pearl for like, I'll say canine or feline or equine. So that's really very interesting. And the medical conditions, as we talked about, we both have the potential for detox, and EESystem, it's a non-contact, meaning nothing needs to touch you, whereas the pearl, there can be contact. That is an option to do it versus a non-contact of 30 feet. Mm-hmm. And again, multiple potentials. Now I'm going to switch over. I know that I've covered a lot, but I want to talk about now our third main technology, which we've had for a year and a half. And so the gentleman featured is Sir Dr. Todd Overkites, a physician scientist who was trained at Johns Hopkins and was a co-inventor of the song laser. And it's called song because his co-inventor, physicist last name is Strachan, and the O is his name, and N is nodal, and then G is generator. So it is a very specialized red light laser, not like the red light mats or things. It's actually designed in a way where there's a collision of red light, and most red light doesn't really penetrate very deep past kind of the layers of the skin and into like the fascial muscle. But this red light will go through the body, and it's a fascinating science. And I knew about this when I was a cell biology major in the 90s, late 80s and 90s, that if you shine a light like through a frog embryo, but you put the imprint, the genetic imprint of a lizard, that egg will turn into a lizard. They've known this for decades. This is not new. This is the same principle. Okay, so it is amazing biology and physics at the same time. And I'm sorry.
When you say genetic imprint, what is it exactly that you're?
So, light is information,
right?
So you have to understand that. So when you are sending light and passing it through a template, like DNA, it can become a template. Like, I'll explain a little bit, and I'll have to also explain how that matters when I do this procedure. It is a medical procedure, and you generally will see results within a few months. though I have seen people have results within minutes, literally. Like somebody had back pain for decades and had multiple back surgeries. Within 20 minutes, had less pain, was moving their back. Now, everybody's going to have a different result, so it's going to be individual. But you're using your own stem cells, and that's important to know because some other procedures are lab-grown cells, and you don't know where they come from. And unfortunately, some of these cells are propagated, likely has some sort of tumor, what we call promoter in them to keep them long living. And so, and you can use also stem cells from other parts of the body, but what's amazing about these stem cells is that you're not only using your own stem cells, but these stem cells can turn into any kinds of tissue. So we all came from a fertilized egg, from mom and dad. And we all developed in this beautiful, amazing way where we separate into three what we call germ layers. We all have them. So, and all these germ layers becomes the trillions of cells that becomes a human. So these, what we call very small embryonic-like cells, or B cells, can turn into any kind of cells. Brain cells, skin cells, gut lining, any organ. So it is validated with published studies and scientific research on how this works. So this has been shown to have some amazing effects, especially for tissue that there was really no kind of process for healing of brain or the spine, like spinal cord is what I'm talking about, or let's say arthritis, joints, and heart tissue. And again, lots of amazing testimonials. So in 10 cases of advanced heart failure, where these people had what we call a very low ejection fraction. Heart is like a pump, it's really more than a pump, but they had ejection fraction that was very low, like below 15%. And they were on a list to get heart transplant. 9 out of 10 got off the heart transplant list. They had marked improvement in the heart function. And I saw this happen. We had a member who had very young, he was in his 50s, but had heart problems for years and had devices put in, and he had injection fraction less than 50%. And he could barely kind of walk down the walk. It was so bad. And he did the song laser. Within a week, he was feeling better. Because he was very active. The good news is that he was swimming, he was walking, like free, kind of the, what we call decompensation that he last had. So there's hope. Yes.
So is that similar to, so that literally is a procedure where you remove the blood cells?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll be sure to explain how this works. Okay. Let me just kind of go over some data, because these are published. These are not just, I'm just kind of pulling it out. So here's somebody who had issues with memory, dementia. They did EEG. They found that 3 days after getting the stem cells, their EEG activity was back to normal. And the average brain output increased 80% from baseline. And the memory function also improved. Two patients with advanced Parkinson's had marked improvement in clinically, but also questionnaires and something called a DAT scan, where they look at the amount of just activity in a certain part of the brain called the substantia nigra. And I saw videos of people who could barely walk because with Parkinson's they become very stiff and walk their slowly. They have hard time moving around such that they tend to fall. And so, and these people were able to walk faster, talk faster. It's pretty remarkable to see results like that in Parkinson's. So again, these song laser in musculoskeletal and spinal conditions. So somebody with what they call multiple system atrophy, Parkinson's, was bedridden, had grade 4, very severe, what we call sacral decubitus ulcers, so just on the buttock area because they were lying in bed, had full healing of this ulcer in 2 months, able to stand in 45 minutes, and recovered speech function. Somebody with herniated disc in their neck, C5, C6, radiculopathy, had no response to injections. With the stem cell treatment, 85% resolution of the symptoms, and did not need surgery. So that's really remarkable. And also they found cumulative age reversal, because again, we talked about how biological age is a marker for your health. So we look at that from that standpoint. So each treatment was cumulative, so the more treatments, which could be every 3 months, people got younger biologically. So some people might know who this athlete is. This is Mike Tyson. He got the song Laser. That's why he went back to boxing. Because after the song Laser, he was like similar to the other lady who was a Pilates instructor in the 60s. He was in boxing shape like he was 10, 15 years ago. This is the power of using the E cells. And now I'm going to share this. Some of you have met Dan, my husband, who is in the corner there, and he had a 60-year history of concussions from when he was in an accident, a motor vehicle accident. He was riding in the back of a pickup truck, and he was with family, and his sister was driving and had to stop quickly. Well, I remember flying through the truck bed and having a severe trauma to his left forehead, required stitches and things like that. And then he played hockey and football and had bike accidents, even though he wore a helmet, and had just different other kinds of concussions for 60 years. And he found out that, this is in 2012, that his struggle with his mood, and he'll tell you, he didn't understand why he was so angry all the time. But from 2012, a chiropractor for the 49ers told him, well, it's because of all this concussions you've had over the years. And so he was using light therapy, not the E-system at that time, taking lots of brain supplements. He will tell you he's not sure there was that much benefit. And however, when he came to the E-system, this was in July of 2024, we didn't know each other, but he is somebody who has worked with energy, both spiritually and psychically. He is an electrician. He really could feel that energy, and some people do and some people don't. But he had had a concussion 2 months before he came in that was so severe, and he had brain fog. He could not even drive down 80 to get to work more than driving 55 miles an hour. It was that bad that he had to drive very slowly and just focus on the driving. So at that time we had the 24 unit. In 30 hours that brain fog was gone and he could drive again. And I'm going to show you, because he, as it turned out, had a SPECT scan done a few weeks before he came here. So you don't need to know what a brain, need to be a radiologist or be a neurosurgeon. You can see that they look very different. This was his brain on the left before, and his brain a year later. And I'm just going to show you, so you can see this looks really different. This is measuring brain activity. Not only did he have what we call this brain SPECT scan, but he had cognitive testing that showed that there was an improvement after 1 year. That was 1 year after he decided that he was going to commit to healing his brain, that he believed it was the E-system. And later on, I got trained in the song Laser. So this is showing what an average male on the left, and Dan a year later. So it looks pretty near normal. So that was great, and he could tell you that his issues with his mood, he was now calling himself Zen Dan, because he was just much more at peace. And the other exciting news, because he literally had another 1 year follow-up, so 2 years for the baseline last month. And this is how his brain looks, and by the cognitive testing, there was still improvement in both cognitive and what we call emotional processing. So it is continuing to heal, which is pretty amazing. And the ND, so she was a naturopathic doctor reading the scan, she couldn't believe it. Like, you don't normally see this in somebody with time, that their brain is actually regenerating and getting better. So this is why we are really excited to be able to offer the potential for people to see what is possible for each one of you, whether it's EESystem, song laser, combination. And I'm going to also highlight some other things, because again, there was, this is also just kind of the changes kind of side by side of his brain over time. So on the far, on the left is where it was before EESystem, before song laser. 1 year's in the middle, 2 years is on the right. Now, he did also add the second year a organic plant-based supplement that lengthens telomeres, or increases the activity of an enzyme that keeps your telomeres longer. And why that's relevant, we all have stem cells in us, we all have telomeres, and as long as we're living, our cells are always dividing, and with each division, the telomeres get shorter. So when you have longer telomeres, you actually have more energy and you have more longevity of that cell. That's why that's important for healing. And so when I actually heard about Televital, I was very excited because it was also based on decades of research by a scientist named Dr. Bill Andrews, and he analyzed 20,000 plant extracts to find the ones that would increase this telomerase activity. And just amazing. Like, look at this woman. 5 months later, she looks very different in her spine, and how she's probably connecting with, I'm sure this might be maybe a grandchild or great grandchild. This is a testimonial. I'm going to see if I can play it for you. His name is Peter.
Hi everybody, it's Peter Bates from the Richmond Mountains in northern Quebec, where I taught skiing for many years. I'm feeling really great. I'm anxious to get back on my skis now, thanks to Dr. Bill Andrews' research, and Sunny and Sue for introducing me to Televital. Back in 2020, I had stage 4 cancer. 2014, I had major flu shot reaction. 2019, I had major COVID, which caused my nose to collapse when I'm breathing at night. And in 2024, my cancer came back, and I had to go radiation and hormone therapy. But I've been on Televital now for almost 2 months, and guess what? All my blood counts are normal, my kidneys back to normal, and my heart after being damaged by the hormone therapy. And I'm not making any claims or anything like that. I'm just feeling great. And I'm so thankful for Dr. Bill Andrews for his research and his dedication to helping people have a healthier, longer life. And thanks Sunny and Sue for introducing me to Televital. I'm feeling fantastic, and I can't wait to ski in a couple months. Thanks. Bye now. Hi everybody.
This is his hand before and after Televital, so you can see there's a big change. And lots of other testimonials are available. This lady started in June and took Televital, so in a matter of 2-3 months, her skin changed. So only at Wellness Visions can we offer you what we've created in the past year, the Regeneration transformation. So it's a combination of the EESystem based on Dr. Sandra Rose Michael's work, Dr. Todd's work with the song laser and Televital. So I'm also really happy now we have the PERL, so we can add to that combination. And I will say that with the PERL, because of what I referenced about the stem cells, like I did work with a gentleman recently who found out that he had a precancerous blood disorder. And we did, he wanted to be in an E-system. We did muscle testing to see what would help him. He also got the song laser, but because he's in this phase of just healing and regenerating his stem cells, he's going to hold off on using more PERL. He did get a PERL before the song laser, but we're going to let him just heal with his own B cells for the next few months. So, let me just kind of explain, because I know Stacy mentioned how the song laser works, because some people might wonder what happened. So, it is a medical procedure. I'm working with a nurse that was trained in the procedure with Dr. Todd and his team. We do put an IV in, and from the IV we can draw out 6 tubes of blood, and we can process them, separate out the B cells and what we call the plasma, the clear part, to remove the red blood cells, the white blood cells. We then actually activate the stem cells using the specialized red light laser to turn off 2.5 times. So the testing has shown it's usually 80 million stem cells. And I can then direct to multiple sites in the body once we isolate those stem cells to go back into the body, and I basically point the laser where it needs to go. But these stem cells are so small they can travel through what we call the blood-brain barrier. That's why I can heal the brain. And they've done what they call in vivo studies, so they know these activated stem cells follow the light. But remember when I was talking about the frog and the lizard, I have to be very careful where I point the laser. So if I was using the song laser on Dan, and he's received 5 of them, plus hours of the E-system, about 2,200 plus hours, and my nurse is standing behind him, she will get the energetic imprint of his DNA. So I can't just, I have to watch where I'm pointing the laser because of that property. So, yeah. So it's very, again, this research has been around for decades. This is not new. And anyway, so once it's back in your body, these activated stem cells, they're like baby cells. You have to take care of them. So we really do encourage people to be in a healthy environment, which is why being in the E-system is great afterwards. And like Dan will share a story, when he came to the E-system, he came every single day for 5 months. And he usually would come an hour before he worked swing shift. So that was the time he could come in. But every day he came. But Dan, you want to share more?
It wasn't, well, gee, what was it wrong? It'll come back. I lost the, oh! Having to do with the song laser, what I find, and I think people have to be aware of this, if you get the song laser, you give yourself 2 weeks off, because when I first started, it was the first 2 weeks where like I really just wanted to sleep. It wasn't not going to the gym, not doing anything strenuous, and I found that over time, each one was different. But I remember it's like the first 2 weeks, your body really just needs to rest.
Yes, and that's listening to your body and resting. Now everybody's individual, so I've had the song laser. I haven't noticed that I was more tired. Some people it was a few days. There was one gentleman who was in his 80s, very healthy, had a lot of healthy lifestyle changes, and so his biological, even though he was in like 83, his biological age was like 71. He had the song laser. He was tired for 1 month, but his biological age came back at 18. So he really was regenerating. So, yeah. So that's, yes, Diane.
How are you able to test his biological age?
So we do, it's actually at home test kit, so you're taking drops of blood. So if people are familiar with, let's say, checking your blood sugar, it's more than just 1 drop, but it usually is we need to collect some to fill like a quarter size amount of blood. We send it off to the company to analyze it, and this is an active area of research of how to look at biological age. So there's many different models about the epigenetic expression of DNA.
Yeah, it's just the technology, right?
Yes. So you don't have to have vials of blood because, you know, especially being in a hospital setting, they can draw lots of vials of blood. And so the kind of testing that I showed, like with my study, what really was at-home test kits that you could check kidney, liver function, the hormones, and so there are, yes, new ways that we can do this testing.
Now,
So,
I'm just wondering, is it similar to dialysis?
It's not dialysis.
No, I
that's a
know
good
it's not, but
question.
it's similar to, in the way that you're taking blood out, you're regenerating it, right? It's regenerating
You're
it and then you're putting
separating
it
them.
back in,
Right,
right?
you're separating the blood. You're activating them with the red light laser,
Right.
and then
Putting
actually,
it back.
yeah, then we put it back in the body.
So I mean, it's meant in that way that they take out the blood,
Right.
fix it, and then they give it back to the person.
Right.
That's what I said. I didn't mean like that.
And for some of you who were at Soul Search in Concord recently, so a member and good friend of mine, Rena Jadhav, she had 2 song lasers. She was trying to address some health conditions she had, and so she shared that her blood test, including cholesterol, was like normal. She was very happy about that. So she's going to share some of her test results and testimonial shortly. But that's an example of what something like a song laser can do. Dan, did you want to share?
Yeah, when it's, you had mentioned earlier about something about crime or something, or.
Oh, that was with the EESystem. That
Right, so I just saw an article this week on the Bay Area, and they were saying it was the lowest crime rate ever in the Bay Area. And we have, with these systems here. And then last year, I followed this guy, and he was talking about nationally, and the United States has the most energy enhancement systems in the world. Overall, the United States is at the lowest level since they've been taking the data since the mid-60s on crime, whether it be violent crime, rape, murder, carjackings, all that. They said it's the lowest it's ever been since the mid-60s when they started taking it. And so when you see the news,
right.
that is all, that's all
really
fake.
encouraging.
It's very,
Yes.
they pump it up, but its reality is very safe, become very safe.
And also really what is happening is that the EESystem changes consciousness or can assist in shifting your consciousness. Even the PERL does that. There's actually metaphysical sets. I'll be sharing that shortly of what we're playing here. But I know we're coming up to the time, so love is the greatest healing power I know. This comes from Louise Hay. Love can heal even the deepest and most painful memories because love brings the light of understanding to the darkest corners of our hearts and minds. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael says, awareness is our power. Love is our superpower. And really, you are in the energy of love when we come into the EESystem and when we come to the Wellness Visions and when we're gathered for all events, which may range from meditations to sound healing to other special events that we're going to have. But I wanted to just put this out to people that I am as a lifestyle medicine physician, health and wellness coach, and energy healer. I do wellness consults, but I do it from a very holistic way. And for me, everything's connected in our life. So many of you are familiar with the wellness wheel. So I can explore the roots of conditions, not only physically, but actually psychically. I'm trained to release psychic roots of disease from even the womb to if people have ancestral wounds or past lives. Those are things that I work with people to heal, but I use the lifestyle medicine approach, like where things going on in your health, what's your stress level, And again, it's about holistic wellness. I can make specific recommendations about what PERL frequencies can help each of you, as well as EESystem recommendations, the song laser, and also supplements. We have a variety besides the Televital, which is from a company called Touchstone. They have a lot of wonderful organic, non-GMO based nutritional supplementation. Because what I alluded to, that being stewards of our planet, a lot of things are depleted in our soil. So, thank goodness we have farmers returning to like regenerative medicine practices. But there's a long road ahead between people needing to heal, let's say, a leaky gut, and that's tied in with a lot of toxins in our land. But I am offering, usually my consult fee is $300 plus, and I'm offering, if people would like to get an hour-long consult, to offer them for a fee of $288 if they're wanting some specific guidance about what to shift and where to go next for that consult. So if you're interested, please check with Julia in the back, and just to get your name, and we can set up a time that works for you. I can meet people in person or via Zoom. Actually, last week I was working with somebody in Virginia and another person in Santa Cruz, healing some emotional roots of their conditions. Anyway, so if people want to get a picture, there is a QR code for a Televital and also for a song laser. If you're just interested in the song laser, I do a free 30-minute consultation, but this is if you feel like the song laser is really something you're wanting to focus on. So I know we're kind of coming up to time, so let me, I know some of you may have more questions, but let me just let you know that the PERL is set for 3 frequencies. One is for mental acuity, and one is to kind of revitalize, energize, and improve concentration. And the transformation series is a kind of for more inner balance. So those are the 3 frequencies I'm running in there tonight. So feel free just to take, maybe if you would like, I know we're coming up to 8:30, and I thank the people online for joining, and hopefully you can come. But before I finish off, since there are folks online, let me just go through some things real quickly. So we have another technology which is amazing. It's based in science. It's called X39 Life Patches. We have it on sale for 25% off for the end of the month. When I first went on, I went on behind my neck. I could feel like the tension just be released from my neck and shoulders. Wonderful. And it also has a youthing and longevity effect. There was one member in my study who was in her 70s, but she was 10 years younger, and she was using the X39 for a couple of years. So I believe that the reason why she was doing so well was that she was using the patches regularly. And this is another example of how you can use it. I had a very unexpected fall in February, and I really fell hard on my left hip. I put 3 patches on right away. It helped me. Then I got into the EESystem, still limping because I was giving a talk, but I did it overnight, and by the next day, it was like nothing had happened. It felt so great in my leg, which is unheard of. And we've all kind of injured ourselves here and there, but to have something just be in good shape the day after is unheard of, because usually the next day when there's usually more pain and more swelling. So anyways, if you're interested in the X39, we do have them here. Also happy to give you a sample if you want to check it out. And so this is about the sale. But we have a lot of other technology. I won't have time, but we have a hypercharge. So it's hypercharged with the same scalar energy. Like the medallions have a 5-foot toroidal field. This actually detoxes you, which is encouraged after EESystem. So all of you should consider getting a detox today. But it can help you lose weight, burn calories, and increase your circulation, and improve collagen and mitochondrial energy. So, but we offer it here at the center for 30 minutes for a 20-minute session. You will sweat, so just prepare to wear layers. And we also have a biomat behind us. So it's in the EESystem field, but it has amethyst and crystals and tourmaline, uses far infrared technology, so also reduces stress, fatigue. It's very relaxing. It's nice warm heat, especially if you have some musculoskeletal issues. It can reduce inflammation, increase tissue oxygen as well.
Could I use my HSA or FSA on
Yes,
that?
you can use your HSA or FSA. We've used it before. And we also have something called the Platinum Vibra. Unfortunately, there's a condition with it, but it can improve bone density and health and improve muscle strength and weight loss. So lots of things like really back pain, and we'll get that back up, but I wanted to share that with you. And then we have some upcoming things. So tomorrow morning from 9:45 to 11:45, we're having another, what we are calling our first PERL and EESystem synergy. That one's going to be focused on arthritis and pain relief. Now, we had a series that we're going to be continuing on Sunday, so the next Sunday series, also same time, is to calm the nervous system. Remember what I said, that most of disease is stress? Well, that's intent to help with the nervous system. And then on Sunday, August 30th, we're going to assist people to boost brain function. So that's to benefit everybody, whether or not you're having some memory issues or mood issues. So that's our synergy series. I will be doing, this is a free online, what we call empowerment circle. So this is to help you if you have a vision that you want to achieve, to gather. It's only online, so you'll find out. I'll send out email and text about this as well. To join us online, it's really fun to gather a community. So we have Qigong on Tuesday with Marina, who's an amazing ballet teacher, but loves Qigong, especially medical Qigong. It's amazing to do Qigong under the E-system. And our next PERL and EESystem party, because we had one last month, and where I'm going to be focused on wellness frequency. So this is different from the Synergy series. That's going to be Friday. So if you want to just relax, end of the week, come to that. That's going to be 6:30 to 8:30 next Friday. So, and then we have, some of you know Gregory Joseph. He's a master healer. He's going to be coming back to the center to do a face reading workshop. So we're going to adjust the time piece and move it to the evening. So I will be sending an update about that. But he's also offering private healings if you're wanting to experience that. Very powerful. Yeah. That's it. So thank you all for your time this evening. And I want to just check online. So Marnie, thank you for joining us well. I can ask you to let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out. And your other bracelet for your friend is it's being ordered, so it will come next week. So thank you for joining us. Yes. So again, this is recorded, so anybody here or online can hear it. So Swami, we'll see you another time at the center, hopefully, and thank you for joining online. Okay. Again, you can head to the conference room and just sit in the energy. But if any of you have questions, feel free to stay in the seat and ask any questions, because other people might have the same questions too as well. Stacey, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, so, the song Laser, do you recommend that, doing that?
I just need your phone.
What does that entail? I just want to understand.
Couple seconds.
Right, yes, that's a great question. So sun laser is if people have multiple conditions that they have had for a long time, and maybe they've tried many things, either allopathic or alternative, and they haven't gotten any better. It can help you with a condition. So it depends, like it can be used for different things, like from autoimmune to diabetes to other kinds of health conditions besides what I mentioned.
Okay, so, yeah, and then the consult, I'm trying to figure out, the consult, you guys
Yes.
include any, does it just include, does it include any of the therapy or any of the
No.
work? It's just to show you where you're
Right.
at.
Right.
And then what you need, you get what you
With the 1 hour consult, usually I give a number of recommendations that is very specific.
Okay.
So that is a very good question. The 30-minute, it's more of a preliminary, like, is this a good fit for you or not?
Yeah, I understand.
So that's the difference between the full 1 hour consult versus.
And then, so when we're all welcome to any of the events that are coming in.
Yes, exactly. And you would go to wellnessvisions.com under the event tab and find out about events. And I usually send out a text or email. I know sometimes some people say they don't get it, so you might have to check my spam to make sure you're getting our email.
Okay.
So any other questions?
One quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Can it help with cancer?
Song laser, that's a great question. For this individual I helped recently, was a precancerous. Technically, I cannot make any claims like it will help with cancer. What I can say is that Dr. Todd was working on a more advanced laser, stronger, more powerful, and had like a 4 or 5 day protocol and was getting great results with cancer. But I will say, and again, I'm not making any medical claims, people have reported healing or going to remission from metastatic cancer from EESystem alone, from PERL alone. And so it is possible. Typically people have to release many things, either on the physical level, emotional, and mental level. But that's a great question. I know that that's a real problem. But this is where the consult with me, I can actually give you some specific recommendations or offer some plan. All right. Well,
I have a question.
oh yes. Thank you, Dave.
One of the systems, I don't remember which one, I think it was the EESystem, states that immediately after the treatment, then you have much more toxins showing up in your blood system for at least the next 2 or 3 days.
That was the EESystem, but that's going to happen with PERL because there can be a detox process with the PERL. So that's a great question.
What is that, when you have to take bath salt?
The
Is that where you
salt
wanna
bath
get
will
the
help.
salt bath?
Yeah. And I can go, there's internal detoxes you can do. So the more you can do internally, and our skin is such a large organ of elimination. And I didn't have time to go into it, but like for assisting people with cancer with a PERL, there is a protocol to clear your lymphatics, your kidney, and liver as a prelude to getting other frequencies where it will assist in releasing more. So it's really helpful. So there's very specific protocols, and so there's guidelines.
Okay.
But these are great questions. So.
And then the infrared sauna also have detox after doing the EESystem.
Yes, yes. So any other questions or? Okay, well thank you all for coming tonight and let's go to we are done out here, so thank you again for joining us this evening.
Put me down for an hour consult.